Hello everyone, and welcome to another art journal tutorial video. I'm beginning this page a little bit different than my other pages. I'm actually using a paper from a pack by Prima, and I've just selected a pattern that I like, and I'm going to go in and cut random sized squares or rectangles, whatever you prefer. I'm going to have a little bit of both. And I'm just going to cut 3 pages of that, and I'm going to be sticking it down with some Liquitex matte gel. And there's really no rhyme or reason to this. There's no right way or wrong way. I'm just sticking these down. I'm leaving just a little bit of overlap along the edges, which I'll trim up, but just to make sure I get those right against the edge. And as you can see, after I stick those down, I'm actually just covering them with the matte gel because I want to make sure that they are completely non-porous for everything that I'm going to be creating over the top after I'm finished. So I'm just going over it with a healthy dose of that matte gel once I've got them stuck down where I want them. And I will actually be doing the same thing on the other side. Normally I start my pages out with some tissue paper, but I wanted to do something a little bit different for this page. So this is how I'm starting my background. And you can see I have lined the page with some Scotch tape like I usually do, just to give it this the binding some extra support. So I've just lined it right there along the spine, and I'm being really careful when I glue these down to make sure they don't cross over the spine, because I want to be able to fold the page without causing those to bend or pull away. And so again, on this side I'm just putting a healthy amount of that matte gel, and then I'm going to heat it up with my heat gun just to help it dry a little bit. But I actually did end up leaving this to sit overnight because I wanted to make sure it was completely dry. That matte gel does dry completely transparent, even though when you first begin to put it on, it is almost like a white color, almost like glue, but it will dry completely transparent. And then from there I'm just trimming up my edges. I'm using some distress paint, and you can use whichever colors you like. I'm using Wild Honey and spiced, I believe it's called Spiced Marmalade, but certainly use whatever colors you like. These were just the colors I liked for this layout. And so I'm just using my baby wipe to take that yellow Wild Honey color all over the page, and then I'm going to hit it with my heat gun shortly just to help it dry up a little bit. And then now along the edge I'm going in with the darker color, and I'm going to just create almost like the beginning of a border. And you'll see these two colors are actually pretty close. I wanted it to be slightly subtle, but I mean you can tell that there is a difference in the colors. If you think it's a little bit too dark, you can certainly go over it again with the baby wipe and pick up some of that paint before it's dry. And then I'm just going to hit it with my heat gun, and I'm going to make sure I get it nice and dry. And then I'm going to be using my Distress ink. This is Vintage Photo. And I'm just going along the edge again just to give it a little bit of a frame. I didn't think the darker Distress paint was quite dark enough, so I just went in with that Vintage Photo just to give it a little bit more of a frame. And in my next step, I'm actually going to bring the edges of the paper piecing out a little bit, and it goes really well with this Vintage Photo along the edges. This is a marker set by Faber-Castell, and all I'm doing is I'm finding a color that I like, and I'm just tracing along the edges of the paper that I laid down. I'm just trying to make the edges a little bit more prominent. But if you don't want to do this step, you definitely don't have to, or if you want to go with a color that matches the background distress paint color a little bit better, you can definitely do that. I was looking for, I was kind of wanting a distressed look, and so I thought this brown color really gave me that pretty well, and it almost has an orangey or red tint to it, which I thought went really well with my background. And as you can see, I'm laying down the color and then I'm just smearing it with my finger because of that gel, that matte gel that I've covered the page with. It does give me a few seconds to go in and to smear the ink. If I hadn't covered it, it wouldn't be porous. It would be porous, and the ink wouldn't want to smear quite as well. So that's why I did that. And then there was a few areas that I thought the ink looked a little bit dark, so I'm just going to go over that with a baby wipe to lighten it up a little bit. And again, I'm able to do this because of the multiple layers that are already on top. I'm going in with my Bombay India ink in white. I'm just going to put a little bit of that down on a tray. I'm going to cover my paintbrush with it, and then I'm just going to create some splatters all along my page. If you would prefer to create your splatters in a different color, certainly use whatever color you prefer. I just like the way the white looked. And then if you get any big splatters like I did, you saw me with that baby wipe just going in and cleaning up some of those bigger splatters before it had dried. And then here I am stamping while I'm waiting on the India ink to dry. I have two butterfly stamps, and to be honest with you, I believe these came from Stampendous. I don't know what set, or if it's just the butterflies that come with the set. I really don't know. These were actually some used stamps that I found on eBay for a really great price, so I bought them up, and I'm so happy with them. So keep in mind, you can always find those sort of things on eBay, and sometimes you can get a really good deal for them, so that's one great place to look. I'm using my Faber-Castell big brush markers, and I'm going to go in and lay down some ink on top of these butterflies. And I'm going to show you a really cool technique that I was really excited to discover while I was doing these butterflies. And I'll show you that in a second. I'm just filling in any of the areas that I wanted darker with some black that didn't stamp fully. Now, as you can see, I've laid down a layer of the yellow, and I'm going in with my orange, and I don't know if you can see it or not, but I'm actually able to smear the ink. I did stamp this directly onto paper. There's nothing on the paper, and so it is a porous surface, but because I've already got some ink down on the paper, the yellow ink, it actually makes it to where anything you layer on top is easily smeared. So the orange was pretty easy to smear, and by the time I got to the red color, it was extremely easy to smear because I had 2 layers of ink already down on the paper. And that might be something you guys already know, but I had never really played around with the inks directly on paper. I usually have it on a non-porous surface. So I was surprised to find out that it would smear so easily for me if it had been placed already onto something that already had some ink on it. So I was really excited to find that out. I'm still learning with these markers, but I've had such great results. I live by them now. I don't do any projects without them hardly, so it's really fun to learn new techniques that you can do. And then, of course, from here, color your butterflies any way you like. If you don't have a butterfly stamp or any stamp of any of the projects that I do, like I said, you can always look on somewhere like eBay, or you can even sometimes go online and find a picture online, and if you can find a black and white image or just a drawing that's just, you know, black and white, then you can always print that out too. Once I'm done cutting these out, I'm going in with my black marker and I'm just touching up any of the areas that I'm not happy with, that didn't fully stamp, or that were a distressed area on the stamp. So I'm just going in with that black and cleaning that up a bit. And if after you get finished cutting out a stamp, if you see some white little bits left over from where you didn't perfectly cut the paper, you can definitely go in with a black or brown, whatever color your ink was, marker, like I am here, and you can just go along the edges, and it will make it hard to tell that you didn't cut 100% perfectly. And you might notice these butterflies actually had antennas, but they're so skinny there's no way to cut them out, so I'm actually going to stamp the antennas directly onto the page and then glue the butterflies over the top. I'm going to go in and do my quote first because I'm scared I'm not going to leave myself enough room. So I'm using a stamp set by Stampendous. I believe that's Hobby Lobby's brand of stamp. And my quote for this page is, "If nothing ever changed, there would be no butterflies." I had a lot of fun putting this page together. I have a lot of fun on all of my pages, but this page in particular, I don't know if it was because I was using some different techniques, or if it was just an especially fun page, I don't know, but I really enjoyed putting this one together. So now I'm going to go in, I'm going to lay in the butterflies. I'm just going to decide where I want them to be on the page, and then from here I'm going to grab my big brush marker. I'm going to do it in black, and all I'm doing is adding ink right to the antennas, and obviously I'm leaving the rest of the stamp without any ink on it. And it's easy with those big brush markers just to fill in the area that you want to stamp. So there's the butterflies' antennas, and I saved myself a lot of trouble trying to cut them out of this out of the paper. And now from here I'm just going in with some matte gel. I'm painting it onto the back of the butterflies that I stamped and colored, and then I'm just going to stick those down, and I'm actually going to cover them completely and even a little bit outside the edges with that matte gel. And I'm doing that because I'm going to go in and add some shading to draw those into the page a little bit better, and I want to be able to smear that shading, so I just want to make sure that there is plenty of matte gel down on my page to help with that shading and that blending. And you don't see it in the video, but I actually let my page dry. I actually hit it with my heat gun. Make sure that you let that matte gel dry completely before you go in with your big brush markers or any pen or marker that you have. If you don't let it completely dry, you're going to clog up the tip of the marker or the pen with that matte gel, and then it won't work any longer. So just make sure that you are a little bit patient with it, and that you let it fully dry, or you hit it with your heat gun. Even if you hit it with your heat gun, I'd recommend letting it sit for at least 10, 15, 20 minutes, and making sure that it's not tacky to the touch, because you really don't want to clog up your markers or your pen. So from here I'm just adding some highlights around the butterflies just to incorporate them more into the page. And now I decided that my text needs a little bit of highlighting, so I'm just going to go over the letters with my white Jelly Roll pen, and I'm going to add some highlighting to those letters. This is obviously completely optional, but I do it on almost all my pages. I just like the way it looks. I feel like the stamps almost look naked if there's not some highlighting or something done to them, so I always end up going in and adding in highlights to my stamped letters. And this is the first time that I have used the stamp set of these letters, so I was really excited with how they turned out, and I think they matched the layout, theme, and idea really well. So I was really excited to see how well those came out. And then from here I've grabbed my Tim Holtz stencil, and this is Harlequin. And then I'm grabbing some modeling paste. This is some Liquitex modeling paste. And I'm just going to go in and add a little bit of this. I'm not going to do a whole lot, but I do want to add some texture, and I feel like my pages are never quite finished off until I add this in. So I'm just adding in some of that modeling paste to the edges, and then I'll just go in and clean up any areas that I'm not happy with. And here's the final result. This was definitely one of the funner pages that I've done, and I'm extremely happy with how it turned out. I think that this one is really easy. If you're starting out new to art journaling, definitely give this one a try, because it's very hard to mess up. It's just a lot of fun to put together, and it's very simple to do. You probably have everything you need already at home to put it together, so this is a great one to start with. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in, and if you enjoyed the video, a thumbs up tells me that you like it and you want to see more, and feel free to subscribe to the channel. There's going to be a lot more art journaling tutorial videos and some other art videos to come, but thank you guys so much, and have a great day.